What's up, good people? Welcome back to another episode of Undrafted Views. We're here. We talk sports from the sidelines, and today we're going to talk about the NBA 2022 play-in tournament and give you guys our predictions. Let's get into it.
So now that the NBA play-in tournament matchups are set, we are done with the what ifs and what if that. Let's just get down to the nitty gritty. Let's talk about the Western Conference. The Los Angeles Clippers are set to play the Minnesota Timberwolves in the play-in in that 7-8 matchup. What are your thoughts on that
Ooh.
matchup?
Okay, so out of all of the matchups between the East and the West, I think this is the one I'm excited about all of them, but this is the one where I think I'm a little bit more emotionally invested because they're the Timberwolves and the Clippers pretty much you look at them and they pretty much it's a great matchup. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just a great matchup. One for one, you can pretty much do everything. I think one of the advantages that the Clippers have over the Timberwolves will have to be their coach, Ty Lue. I'm going to give them at least that. Now, and the Clippers have experience. They've been here together before. Think about it. The Clippers have at least 5 players on their roster that has been with this Clippers bunch for about what the past two seasons
Mm-hmm.
since the bubble at least, right? And so their chemistry and their continuity has pretty much been solid. And again, the Clippers have added pieces in, and removed some pieces, and that's fine. But we're talking about at least 5 players that have been there. And that Ty Lue, something about the way he coached when I'm considering coaching and Coach Finch. Like, okay, the Timberwolves, he's been with the Timberwolves. This is his second season. That may be one of the things that could hinder the Timberwolves from at least getting the 7th seed and winning this particular matchup from a coaching perspective. So I would say one of the advantages would be the coaching of the Clippers. Mhm.
I have Ty Lue as one of my advantages as well. But one thing that we also need to think about, the Clippers beat the Minnesota Timberwolves 3 out of 4 times this season.
They
So when
did.
you talk about having that confidence going into the matchup, now I know the play-in, the playoffs, it's a different animal. It's going to be much different than playing a regular season game, trying to get up on a simple Tuesday night to play. No, the stakes are high in this matchup. And I also think Taylor will make the necessary adjustments on the fly.
Oh,
That's one thing that I will give him. He does not care what the media thinks about the different changes that he makes. And that's one thing I love about him. He's just unafraid to be unconventional.
you know what? Another thing that the Clippers have in their arsenal that may be a concern with the Timberwolves for this play-in tournament and even in the playoffs if they make it to the playoffs would be that the Clippers have depth and the way that Ty Lue uses their players, there's other people that can help get it in too, right? Think about it. When Paul George was out, yes, granted, the Clippers did slip a little in the standings, but just know that because Reggie Jackson's on that roster, you got Batum. Please don't let Luke Kennard remotely get hot. I mean, it's just those types of weapons. Oh, Marcus Morris. It is something to behold when you know you have this group of guys that have been playing together for quite some time and they trust the coaching of Ty Lue enough to make, as you mentioned, he makes adjustments. So with Paul George being back, yes, he is needed. But I think that it's important to mention that while Paul George may be out, there's still somebody that can come in and still maintain. Another thing that I think is so great about the Clippers is that they know how to come back from a deficit. Can we just talk about that?
Yeah.
They can be down by 20 in the third, and in the fourth quarter, they'll be up by 10. They know how to fight their way out of losing. And I think that's another advantage and another um, celebration that Ty Lue, we need to give Ty Lue because he knows how to do that for his team. And then his players show up. So, yeah, I would
Mhm.
say that. Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I noticed about the Clippers, they definitely have way better perimeter shooters. I mean, because Luke Kennard can get high, Morris, Batum, Reggie can give it to you, and then Paul George. The perimeter shooting on the Clippers roster is top notch when they get hot, and you don't know who's going to get hot. So that's that X factor right there.
Yeah, that's why you can never count out the Clippers when they're down. That's one thing that we've noticed throughout this whole season that when they're down, they're not necessarily out. And so I think that that's another advantage that the Clippers have over the Timberwolves in this. I will say though that the Timberwolves, one of their advantages is that the Timberwolves, they're young and they're athletic. I can't even hold you on that. I can't hold you on that one. They are going to be running all around the court. And that could be something that may trip up the Clippers in this, playing matchup. So it's something else to think about from a benefit of the Timberwolves in this matchup.
Oh, definitely. And they have that 3-time All-Star and 3-point contest champion in Carl Anthony Towns. I mean, woo, he's having a great season, actually playing his best basketball
Yes.
of
Yeah,
his
yeah.
career. So you got to watch out for that. He's essentially averaging the double-double.
Hmm.
So, hello,
Yeah,
Paul.
I
I
know.
mean, yeah, I don't know who's going to contain him.
I don't know if it'll be necessary. And we'll see what Ty Lue does, right? Will it be necessary? Will he have to put up the 100 points himself? I just know that Anthony Edwards is ready. Can we just let everybody know that Anthony Edwards is ready? He's ready for whatever this is. And his
Mhm.
last, they scrambled to try to get him his 50th point,
Oh, I
in the
know.
last win that they had. So if he can put up 49, I mean, if the Timberwolves and the coaching and the scheme can put, him in a position and Cat in a position to do that, then I say, what is Russell, D'Angelo Russell gonna be back?
I sure hope so.
Hmm.
You know
Interesting.
what? Yeah, I think the Timberwolves are a grittier team than the Los Angeles Clippers.
I agree
I
with that.
mean,
100,
they have some certified dogs on their roster.
100%.
I mean,
100%.
Pat Bev, did we
Lead
did
dog.
we
Yes,
yeah, yes.
absolutely.
He is the
Absolutely.
chief pest of all pests. And it's crazy that
Yeah. Yeah.
what he is going to be, tasked with doing is essentially that. We don't
Yes.
need you to score no points, Pat Bev. He may hit a couple three balls, but we just need you to be a pest.
Yeah. You know that squad, Pat Bev. You just came from there. You know that.
Mhm.
But we can't discount that they know him as well. So then there's that. So does it kind of minus itself out? Maybe. What the
Mm,
Clippers cannot allow Pat Bev to do is get up under their skin. Because all he's gonna do is try to get you out the game.
that's
Because
it.
I'm quite sure Pat Beverly goes into the game ready for his double tech. He ready goes in ready. Like, I'm gonna get this double tech real quick. I'm gonna get these five fouls and be fouled out. I'm going into the game knowing that I'm getting ready to be fouled out. I'm getting ready to be out the game. I'm going in the game knowing that I'm not going to complete this game. I think that's
Mhm,
how he walks into each game he plays, and he gives all of that. And if the opponent want to come with him, he don't mind. He don't mind. So yeah,
mhm.
Patrick Beverly is going to be all of the annoyance. We're gonna see in Pat Bev. Oh
But
yeah.
see,
Yeah.
yeah, but that's the thing though. He's a gift and a curse to the Timberwolves, I think,
Mhm.
because you don't know how far he's going to
Yeah,
take it. Is
that's
he
true.
going to be suspended for the following game? Is he going to be kicked out of the current
That's
game?
true.
That's a problem. And I think that the Clippers kind of got fed up with that when he was on their roster and gladly gave him to the Timberwolves. But,
Yeah.
that's something to consider as well.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. Another thing that the Timberwolves will probably really another advantage that the Timberwolves have is that they know how to pick up the pace. So they're really strong, and also how they manage second chance points. If you look at all, they're willing to get those rebounds and get the second chance points. I don't know if the Clippers can contend with the Timberwolves in the paint, because I don't know if Zubac and Isaiah will be enough. That's
Mm-mm.
another thing that I'm concerned about. And so I think that would be one of the disadvantages that the Clippers have when we're talking about them pairing up against the Timberwolves for this play-in game, is
Mhm.
what does that five center spot look like, and will that be enough? Will that be enough? And that's something that I think we need to look
Yeah, the
into.
answer is no. The answer is no. Mm-mm. I mean, I just don't know that Zubac can contain Carl Anthony Towns. I just don't have faith in him to do that. Because Carl Anthony, he's going to give you that velocity and that strength. And although Zubac has been playing a lot tougher, it is not tough enough to handle Carl Anthony Towns, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Now that you've shared your thoughts, are you ready to give us your prediction on who's coming out of this 7-8
I
matchup?
I think so. Now that I said all that I need to say, I think that the Clippers are going to still be victorious in this matchup, because I am resting my trust in Ty Lue and for the veteran experience that the group has on the Clippers to make it through. Now I know I may have said in the previous video that the Timberwolves will probably be number 7. I don't know. I don't know about that right now. I do know though that the Clippers for this particular matchup at this particular time, how I feel about it, is they're going to be the one clinching the 7th seed. I think.
Ooh, okay,
How
okay.
about you?
I have the Timberwolves
Okay.
coming out of this matchup just because I am resting on their grittiness.
Ah, okay, that's fair.
Yes, they are
Yeah.
going to fight tooth and nail, and I think in the end they'll prevail.
Okay. Cool. I hope so. Well, we'll see. Y'all watching. All right.
Okay. All right. So there's another matchup brewing in the NBA playing tournament for the Western Conference, and that is the number 9 Pelicans versus the number 10 San Antonio Spurs. What are your thoughts on this matchup? Are you as excited or?
And, you know, I'm not as excited. I am looking forward to seeing who the loser of the 7-8 matchup will have to play against. Because really, at the end of the day, this is just my opinion that whoever comes out of this 9-10 matchup, they still going home.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. I still believe that at the end of this playing tournament for the West, it still will be Timberwolves and Clippers 7-8, however you put it, whatever way it goes. That's kind of how I feel. So, however, I do believe that the Pelicans, one of the advantages in this particular matchup would be CJ McCollum. He is their X factor. Will Brandon Ingram be back? Like, is he going to come back? I hope he does for this one game, this matchup. But I'm going to rest all of my hopes from the Pelicans that the CJ McCollum makes it happen. That's just for me.
yeah, he will. That is their greatest advantage, I think, is his leadership. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, he has such a calm presence, and he's played in big games before. So
Mhm.
for CJ, this is just, hey, it could be a walk in the park for him. He's been here before, so he has lots of playoff experience. Playing in
Mhm.
Portland with Dame, and
Yep,
I just see him leading them out of the play-in tournament.
I can see
So,
it. Yeah, you know what though? One of the disadvantages that the Pelicans are facing right now is that they don't have Zion. I am just not. If he was
mm,
on the court, I think I would be more definitive in their chances, and they may have been in a different seeding positioning had Zion been able to play. But I think him not being on the court, it just it makes it harder for the players that are there because he's not there absorbing, and utilizing his skills that he have in order to make the Pelicans just, a better team altogether. But yes, CJ
mhm.
McCollum is the X factor. He will be the one if they were to lead anything out of anybody, anywhere, any game, any play in any series
Oh my
for the
goodness.
Pelicans. It will be on the back of CJ McCollum. And Brandon Ingram is not, this is not taking anything away from Brandon Ingram. Please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But will he be back? Because they need him too.
I think he will. I think he was just kind of sitting out, preparing for the play-in tournament. But I'm telling you, Jackson Hayes has turned the corner.
Yeah, yeah,
He is playing way more aggressive. For a guy who really didn't play much
that's right.
under their previous coach, he
Mhm.
is getting minutes and getting buckets. So I really like what I'm seeing for him. He also has a flexibility to play power forward and center. So you have that
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
And without Zion Williamson, I think Jackson Hayes, he's not Zion caliber, but
right.
he does complement them fairly well.
He can get the job done for sure, for sure, for sure. But Zion is on that roster for a reason. So let's not discount that, and let's know
Hmm.
that, if he was playing, we would probably be having a different conversation. I
Yeah.
would be having a different conversation if he was able to play and put up the numbers and be as explosive as we have seen in a few games he's played as an NBA professional player.
But can we talk about Willie Green Jr. though?
Can we
First
talk?
season as head coach. You talking about a guy who was the assistant coach under Steve Kerr in the winning Warriors back in the
Yeah,
day, and then more
yeah,
recently with the Phoenix Suns and Monty
yeah,
Williams. So you talk about all that
yeah,
tutelage and
yeah.
experience that he has gained. I mean, him and CJ McCollum, I think they can lead the Pelicans. Like, I think we're going to be surprised here.
That's
And
good.
so I basically said the Pelicans are coming out of this playing tournament.
But we just cannot think that Popovich, the coach of all coaches, can't put something together against the Pelicans so the Spurs can be the one to come out of this particular matchup. I just know that in order for anything to happen for the Spurs, DeJounte Murray needs to be on the court,
Yeah.
point blank and period. So, if the Spurs have any hope of coming out of this matchup, DeJounte Murray needs to play. So,
Interesting enough, they beat the Pelicans. The Spurs beat the Pelicans 3 or 4 times this season. Now,
mhm,
granted, BI could have been out of the roster. They didn't have CJ McCollum
right.
earlier. They didn't have Zion. So, a lot of the
Yeah.
air was probably out
Mhm.
of their sails then. but it's a different Pelicans team now.
I agree. I agree. And it's
Hmm.
also a different Spurs team because this is a Spurs team without Derek White.
Yeah,
So
and
yeah.
DeMar DeRozan and Patty Mills as well.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So we'll see. I have to agree with you. I have the Pelicans also coming out of this matchup. And I think that they would be the one to play the loser against the 7-8 matchup. I believe that. I have the Pelicans as well.
Now, earlier you mentioned Pop.
Hmm.
I'm not discounting Pop. He's an all-time winningest coach. But I also think the Spurs are kind of motivated to give him a storybook ending,
That's fair.
to this season in particular. The way DeJounte Murray was playing before his little sickness or whatnot. The problem is, I don't think he's played I don't think he's played the last couple of games. So to
Yeah.
bring him back for this one and done, win or go home type game, it's a little unfair to him. And I don't know how explosive he'll be and what his win would be like, his
Right.
timing and all that, because that
That's true.
matters. All right. So let's move to the Eastern Conference where the Brooklyn Nets will play the Cleveland Cavaliers. I mean, oh, this matchup right here, I'm telling you. What are your thoughts on this?
I think that it is going to be a fun matchup. I do have, I think one of the advantages of the Nets, just be honest, is Katie and Kyrie. Like,
Mhm.
what are you talking about? However, KD and Kyrie, as great as they are individually and together, they can put up 80 something points and the Nets will still lose. Please, no. If nobody else comes to their rescue on that roster and puts up double digits, it can be a struggle for them. And there has been a game recently, I don't know which one it was, a couple of games ago, where I think this is the game where Kevin Durant had 55 points
Mhm.
and Kyrie had like 31
Yeah.
points. But if you looked at that, they was out there balling by themselves. What I'm saying is that's one of the advantages that the Nets have over the Cavs and any other team. But one of the disadvantages is that the other players don't show up. It's rough. It's rough.
Yeah.
And is Seth Curry gonna play? Because really for me, the Nets, their X factor or their additional third body that can get them something since Harris is out is going to be Seth Curry. So yeah, the Nets, great. KD, Kyrie all day, hands down. Disadvantage, who else is gonna show up?
I'll tell you who's gonna show up in round one, but we're
Who?
not there yet. Ben Simmons is coming back in round one. I digress. So
That's he's supposed to.
hey, watch this.
Oh well, you
That's
know
some
what?
momentum for the Brooklyn Nets, who've already won 4 games straight. I think they'll come into this play-in tournament.
Ah,
KD, Kyrie, they know it's a win or go home type of.
mhm.
Well, it's a win or face a go home type
Yeah,
situation, and
yeah.
they are going to rise to the occasion. I am not worried about them at all, you know. But the
Mhm.
only thing is, I think sometimes they take turns getting hot. So you
Mm.
get a lot of isolation ball where it's like, okay, your turn, Kyrie, go off. All right, it's my turn. Let me score 50. I think they need to play more of a team ball. Steve Nash doesn't run the team properly. I don't want to get started on Steve Nash, but he's their disadvantage.
Ah, interesting, interesting. I think one of the things that the Cavs will be facing in this particular matchup is the fact that Jared Allen is not on the floor.
Hmm.
I think the Cavs are most successful they have been most successful this year when they've had both Jared Allen and Evan Mobley both on the floor. Again, I'm not discounting your Garland, and that's all great, but I'm saying they have been their most successful when they're both were playing because that two center, too long, two tight positions has been really beneficial to this Cavs roster. So that is a disadvantage for the Cavs if Jared Allen does not play.
Hmm. However, if he does,
Yeah, babe.
you know,
If he
it's a
does,
block party.
let me tell. Wait a minute. And you know that Kevin Love put up 32. Kevin Love is just loving this
But
Cleveland Cavaliers team. He's loving it off the bench. Yes, if he can get hot, yeah. So you know,
okay. But one of the advantages for the Cleveland Cavaliers is that they do have Kevin Love and Rajon Rondo with that veteran experience. I know how you feel about Rondo, but the fact remains he is an NBA champion.
yes,
What, 3 times over?
yep, he is.
Three? Is it two?
Boston Lakers.
Lakers, Celtics. Oh no, Celtics, Lakers. Yeah, I guess I said, huh?
It's only
Okay.
two.
I know. I feel like he has three for some reason.
Okay, y'all drop down in the comments and correct us or do whatever. Let us know.
Yeah, but nonetheless, he is a floor general. So Darius Garland has been benefiting from
I
Rondo's
believe that.
veteran leadership and presence the whole season. But this is where the Cavaliers could really use that double-headed monster in Garland and Sexton, and they are going to
Mm,
really feel his absence. I think in
yeah.
this matchup in particular, with Kyrie Irving going off and possibly, Seth Curry too. So.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that, which leads me to the reason why I believe the Brooklyn Nets will be coming out of this matchup, which leads me to say that for me, the Brooklyn Nets will be clinching the 7th seed. That's
Yeah,
how I feel about it. How about you?
absolutely. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, they coming out. They
they're
coming
coming out.
out.
They're
The
coming out
Nets
for
will
sure.
be number 7, guaranteed. So the other matchup in the Eastern Conference are the Charlotte Hornets and the Atlanta Hawks. Now, this is that 9-10 matchup. So
Yeah.
if one team loses, they're going fishing.
1, 2, 3, fish.
I was saying, yep.
Something about this particular matchup is going to be, it was difficult for me to determine and identify who can actually come out. Because if you think about what they did for their series, they split the series. They
Mm.
split the series. And I just know that if Trey Young becomes Ice Trey, it may be a problem, which is one of
Yeah.
the advantages that the Hawks have. One of the disadvantages for the Hawks is that they're going to be missing John Collins.
If he's out, forget about it.
Yeah, that's gonna be rough. Now I'll give Clint Capella his, props. You know, I don't know if it will be enough in this one game with the Charlotte Hornets being as gritty. They're kind of like for me, the Timberwolves. Don't get me wrong, this is
Mhm.
gritty, right? You have, LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier, Kelly Oubre, Mason Plumlee. Like they have enough, I believe, on their roster for this matchup to actually give the Hawks a run for their money because they can shoot the 3 ball too. But
Mhm.
the special skill that Trey Young has is a little bit different.
Yeah, if Trey Young starts shimmying and icing up and stuff, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah,
gonna
yeah.
be rough. It's gonna be rough. However, the Atlanta Hawks, basically their core guys, Hooter, Trey
Oh yeah.
Young,
Mhm.
Lou Will, they went to the Eastern Conference finals last season.
Yeah.
So they do have that playoff experience that I cannot say the Charlotte Hornets have. In fact, the Charlotte Hornets last season when they were in the play-in, they didn't even make it to the playoffs. In fact, that LaMelo Ball guy that you're talking about, the one who puts the butts in seats,
Mhm.
he played 27 minutes, scored 14 points, and lost by 27 points to the Indiana Pacers. So I feel like LaMelo Ball is unproven in
Yeah,
this type of
that's fair.
scenario.
That's
He's
fair.
great regular season.
Yeah.
He can go between the legs and do all these fancy passes and stuff. But when it matters, when the rubber meets the road, where's LaMelo Ball?
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. And hopefully this season for him, because then this is his second time going through it.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be a lot different than the previous time, right? But when you have momentum, it kind of helps. When you have a season that, it's been pretty good. I mean, they're number 10
Number
best.
10.
We're talking about not at the bottom. Not at the bottom, but at the bottom of the plan. I think that, maybe we'll see something a little bit different for him because he's been there before. But I do have to agree with you. There is veteran experience on the Hawks roster that the Hornets roster they don't have. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that is an advantage for the Atlanta Hawks. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, but they do have Montrezl Harrell. And he's played
Again,
in some pretty big games and he's gritty and he's
six
gonna
man of
shake
the
some things
year.
up. Hmm?
He's been 6 man of the year. So
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know if that's his skill set though. See, it's different. There's players that have been there before, and then there's players that have been there and will share. They come with the leadership piece of it, right? I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
Montrez has that leadership piece of it. He may. I don't know. He doesn't give me that. Unlike a Lou Williams, he gives me some sort of leadership piece,
Mm-hmm.
that I
Yeah.
think will benefit the Hawks in this particular matchup. That's just all I'm saying. Doesn't I'm
Okay.
not discrediting any of Montrez grit and grind in that in the paint because you gonna get hurt. If you don't be careful, you're gonna get hurt. He's that strong and that powerful. So I give him that, but he's just a little
Mhm.
shorter than some others. But yeah, no, Montrezl Harrell is that beast. I agree.
Yeah, yeah. So who do you have coming out of this matchup?
I have the Hawks.
Yeah, I have the
I said
Hawks
all
too.
that to say I still have the Hawks coming out because of the veteran experience and because they have been in these types of situations before. I think that if the Hornets come out of this, it would be an upset because and it would be great for the Charlotte Hornets fan base,
Mhm.
but it would be a little disappointment for the Hawks fan base if they don't come out of this. So the Hawks have to come out, in my opinion. They have too
Yeah.
much not to.
Yeah, exactly. All right, you guys, that wraps up this episode. Make sure you drop down in the comments and share your predictions on this NBA play-in tournament. I cannot believe it's finally here. Oh, goodness. I'm ready. You ready, Evay?
I'm ready.
Yeah. All right, y'all. We will see you guys on the next one. But until then,
Peace.
peace, y'all.